once you've pulled into your RV location, hopefully you've parked it on a semi-level surface, and we're ready to do our slide outs. So the first thing you want to do is set your parking brake. It's down here. It's a foot pedal parking brake, and once it's in park, parking brake on, you can leave it running, and we'll go over here to the so we haven't done the jacks yet. We'll splice that in later, but jacks should be down before we do this, unless you're on a fairly level ground like a pad area, pavers, and you feel fairly confident that you're level. You do use the jack leveling system if there is a small discrepancy in out level, because when we operate the slide outs, we want it as level as possible. So when you get to your location and you're going to actually use the jacks to level the RV, typically this is done in an uneven area. If you find out your campsite is whether it's a cement pad or pavers or gravel and it's level, technically you don't need to level it because you're typically on some solid or flat ground. So once you come in, we're gonna go ahead and hit this button. It's gonna say that we're jacks are up and we're ready. And all I'm gonna do is hit auto level, and I'll hold that down. Oh, it tells me to set the parking brake. So once the parking brake is set, kind of go through the directions, and then we'll say auto level. Oh, I didn't acknowledge that, sorry. So I have to hit enter. Okay, so I just hit enter to acknowledge that I didn't have the parking brake down. So now we're gonna go to auto level. So all right, so while we're auto leveling, you have to remain still in the cabin. You don't want to have anything moving around. And it's going to go through all 4 jacks, and you'll feel it kind of bounce around. And just don't be alarmed. They're just trying to get seated, and then they're going to start the leveling process. So as long as you stay still, the process will go much quicker, I guess, because it's always trying to find level, and if people are moving around shifting weight, it's going to be hard for it to find where level ground is. So right now it's still balancing things out. We're almost done. And notice the car is still running. And there we go. We are successfully leveled. So once you're leveled, you can go ahead and turn this off. But keep in mind, this is still going to beep at you because we have the car running. And the only way to get the beeping to stop is to remove the key, or to take the key out of the ignition. Notice when I go to put the key back in and I go to accessory mode, I'm not even starting the car, the beeping will resume because it's assuming you're going to try to drive off.
All right, you can see right here where the jacks are down on the RV, so this is what you're looking for. So you see one there. And then you'll also see it in the rear as well.
And here's our slide out location here, and really we're going to just do slide outs out. All right, let me check. Oh, I don't think the battery power's on. See, so battery power has to be on. So we just and we can see the lights are flashing. Before, when we did that, there was no lights illuminated, so that's a good little trial and error for us right here. And now the slide outs go out. You do want to make sure that the area that this is sliding out to is clear. It's sometimes good to have a spotter. And you go to it's fully seated, and then we just make sure this, well, this finishes it. We just pull the mattress down. Okay, now we're going to do the living room. Let's go to out. Again, waiting till it's fully seated, and you'll hear it fully seat. You can hear it stops. You don't have to guess, just keep holding it until it's fully seated. Some things to notice here is we have a bunk area here. Is make sure that before you do your slide outs, we buckled this if we did use our bunk area. And before we retract this in, make sure this seat is not in the way of the slide out retracting back in towards this driver's side seat. So a good thing to do is just fully, even exaggerate, make this fully up, and now we're going to move the slide outs back into position. So again, we're going to let it come in until it's fully seated. We're not going to guess. We're going to let the mechanism stop, and we're going to hold it until it's come to a stop on its own. It's fully seated. Okay, as you saw, the jacks were down. Now we're gonna go ahead and now we're gonna get ready to go. Turn the car on. Go ahead and power it up. Parking brake's already set, and we're gonna go ahead and retract. You're gonna hear a loud, you'll hear it here in a second. So it wasn't that loud, but if it's function aborted. So if you see that it aborted, just go ahead and acknowledge that it aborted. Maybe I didn't hold the button down too long enough. So when I took my finger off the button, it aborted the jack retraction. So I had to acknowledge it with enter, and then I just had to hold down retract again. And you can see all jacks are up now, and you're not getting that annoying beeping sound anymore. So if you mess up, usually the panel will tell you what to do. Acknowledgement is this enter button, and then once we're up and level and are ready, we can just go ahead and turn things off. And remember, your parking brake is set, so now the parking brake is off and we're ready to roll. So